Hi, this is Helen Tarrant. Hi, this is Helen Tarrant. Welcome to Commercial Property Roadshow. I'm on the top of Club Intercontinental, so it's a fantastic place to have a look at the beautiful views. That's Sydney. But the one thing I want to do this video is so that you actually get to see what 2020 looks like in commercial property. So I know that one of the big things is about getting into your first commercial property and how you do it. So here's my 3 tips on how to get into your first commercial property for 2020. So number 1, plan out your portfolio as holistic as you can. So look at it not as I have $100,000 spend as my deposit, but look at it as I want to build and replace an income of $100,000 or $200,000 or $300,000. So because the whole point of it is not about the now and the first property, it is about what comes after the first property. So look at where can I pull out the next deposit, where can I pull out the third deposit, what is the best entity I can put this property into, what type of properties I'm going to need so that I can leverage for the second one and the third one, the ones that goes forward. So look at it holistically. Do I want to build a $3 million portfolio? Do I want to build a $30 million portfolio? Whatever it is, wherever you are now, don't get focused on the now, but get focused on the future. Get focused on where you want to be 2 years, 3 years, 5 years into the future so that you can plan out where do I drop in my different types of properties. Second thing, look at the different phrases. So we've got yield, which is essentially cash flow in your pocket, and we've got growth, which is essentially building equity in your property and then being able to leverage that equity with your cash flow. So I look at it as a 2-phase approach. The first phrase, look at cash flow. How much cash flow do I need to replace my current income or to release my stress from my current day job right now? If that might be 100 grand, for some of you might be 50, for some of them might be 500,000. Whatever that is, work out what that is, and from there, what you want to do is you want to be able to be in a situation where you go, okay, I'm going to go through a acceleration phase where I'm leveraging for cash flow purposes. So I'm looking at pure cash flow, pure yield. So I'm driven by the returns and what comes into the pocket, because I might need to build in 50,000, 100 grand, 200 grand of stability in my portfolio before I move on. So if that's the case, then you should take growth slightly out of the equation and look at your regional, your even maybe in your rural properties. How do I build a little bit of security around that and drop in those cash flow properties until I got to the cash flow mark I'm looking for? So phase 1 almost. So the second lot is we look at growth. So what kind of growth properties? So ultimately growth is going to be your Sydney and Melbourne metro properties. So, but we're not buying a 3 or 4% yielding property because that's just crazy. That's just holding the property for the bank. So what ultimately you do is that you look at, okay, I am going to look at growth. I'm going to research into areas that's always had historical growth. I'm going to look at areas that's always given me really good returns, really stable tenants, and really, really easy to re-tenant. So those things are going to help me. So because those things are going to help you, you are going to look at, I'm going to make sure I've got enough properties in my portfolio to be able to sustain me having some growth properties. And so I'm going to go into phase 2 where I'm going to have some growth properties. Now phase 3 might be, how do I consolidate or how do I leverage everything in my portfolio? So I'm looking at properties where I can do uplift. I'm looking at properties where I can tweak and sell and do some flips, because now I'm semi-retired from my property journey. So it's really looking at a holistic approach. So everything in 2020 for me and my clients and my students is all about the holistic approach of building future, building sustainability in the future. So tip number 3 and the last tip on this video is about understanding your mindset and risk profile, because there's no point saying I'm going to get into commercial property. You know, that's really fantastic. You want to get into commercial property, but when I come to the point where I'm signing the dotted line and I'm doing my first property deal, I'm too scared. I can't do it. I don't know how this works. I'm not comfortable with it. Well, this is about education, understanding. So I have heaps of videos around commercial property, different types of commercial property. Please watch them. Please click and click to subscribe and also hit the bell so you get new videos. But the main thing is getting really comfortable. And the best suggestion around that is for you to actually look at case studies, what other people have done in the past, what other people in your similar circumstances have done in the past, and also what are some of the things that's going to make you be able to sleep at night. So if you don't believe retail is the right way to go, don't buy a retail property. go and buy a warehouse property or an office space property. So really dig deep into thinking what is going to make the first property deal work for you, because ultimately you are going to eliminate all of those fears, all of those worries after your first property deal. But there's nothing that's going to replace that except launching into it and just getting it done. So remember my 3 tips, all about holistic approach. Firstly, plan out in the future. What is your plan? What is the ultimate goal in 3-5 years time? Secondly, the different phases in your property journey. So the yield, which is the cash flow return, the growth, and maybe the uplift, plan that out so that you start getting through the basics of what you need to replace your income and giving you some, clearing up some of your mindset and giving you some more time. Then you look at holding some growth and be able to have a portfolio that sustains a hold of growth, and then look at the uplift. So look at the journey so you understand how the first property profile is going to look like, and you know how that builds out. And thirdly, really dig deep into your mindset, get some education, understand why you need to invest in commercial property and the risks around it, and what your first property you're going to be most comfortable in. So, you know, maybe a 10% yielding property is great, but if that's going to be in rural, and it means that in the future you might get a 10% rate and you get great cash flow, but if you have a vacancy, you end up with 12 months of retenancy, that might really freak you out. If that does, you might want to scale this back to a 9% in a large regional town where you're going to have more retenancy opportunities. Or perhaps if that's all too much, coming back to a fringe metro area, or a greater metro area where you're going to be getting 8%, but much more secure, much easier to retenant. So it's all about versing security, longevity, as well as stability. So getting that balance and understanding that. So I look forward to helping you in 2020 in commercial property. If you want to reach out, want to have a conversation, want to find out more about how we can help you in your commercial property journey or give you some guidance around it, please go to helentarrant.com or email helen@commercialpropertycashflow.com.au. So helen@commercialpropertycashflow.com.au. So please make 2020 the best year possible commercial. Let's build some cash flow. Let's go out there. It's an amazing journey. I look forward to seeing you on other videos. Bye for now, and have a fabulous year and really make it a bang. Bye.